Hi everyone, welcome again to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for stopping by, and if you are just joining, welcome to the wonderful family, the beautiful family that we are just building together. Thank you so much for joining, and if you have already subscribed and you're just coming back again, you know I got you. Thank you for also coming back and seeing what I have again. I really appreciate that. I've been seeing your questions and your congratulations. I really appreciate all of that. Thank you so much, guys. I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I will do my best, like I always said. I will do my best to respond to every question that I'm being asked. Okay, so keep it coming. All right, now we have been talking about the pre-registration process for a while now, and I intend to keep it that way because it's still a process that I'm still ongoing. Yeah, a process I'm still you know taking right now. So I'm really happy to share what I have done and the stages I've crossed. I'm happy to share with everyone and answer the questions that are being thrown at me, because this is something that I actually would have really loved to get from maybe other people. I searched and searched. I didn't see anyone making this kind of videos, because I really wanted to find out and know what the process is like. But I got you guys always. So here I am making these videos just because I want to let you know what it is, so you can really have first-hand information, and also have someone you can ask a question to, and they can also get feedback. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the next stage after the interview. My last video, if you haven't watched it, you can go back and watch it. I talked about my interview process, every question I was asked, and all that I did to prepare for that interview. Now, I'm talking about the next thing, which is after the interview, what happens next. So, if you finally got the mail and it says you can go ahead into the scheme of registration, then yay, congratulations to you, and I'm so happy for you as well. Okay, so now if that was the response you got, now the stage I'm going to be talking about is the very next stage for you. Okay, so like I said before, I got the response to go straight into the scheme of registration, and I'm so excited about it. I mean, it's such an exciting email to get. I swear, it is such an exciting experience. So when you get that mail, below it there's always there is going to be an attached information, and in that attached information you're going to find a link which you're going to click on, that will open you up to the GOC website, or yeah, of course, maybe the college website, yes. And basically it's going to open you up to where you're going to have to fill your form, your student register form. Filling this student register form would help them process your GOC number. I'm going to get to that, okay? Now when you fill this form, you're also going to submit your certified identity photo ID, basically. So I did, of course, my passport, my passport, my photo passport. I didn't submit my international passport. Now I submitted my photo ID because they actually asked for that. So I certified it and I submitted it alongside that form, and then I paid, and then they sent me a PayPal invoice of £30, which I paid. Now, after you make that payment, few days after, they're going to start working on your GOC number, and few days after that, you're certainly going to get your GOC number. And getting your GOC number allows you, of course, that is the number you're going to use for your practice in UK. Now, the only difference is that the prefix of your number would have SO. But then when you get past your exams and get your license, you would now have an O prefix, but the number remains the same. But I know, I'm actually guessing, I don't know, but I'm thinking that that number, that prefix may mean student optometrist. That's what I feel. And then maybe the O means optometrist. That's what I also feel. But that's what your number would come as, okay? Now, this GOC number, of course, like I said, is for your license. And yeah, you're going to have it as long as you keep practicing in the UK. Now, the second thing that I did, of course, that's the first thing that I did after I got my mail, right? Then the second thing, which made me really so excited, like I had this so much excitement. I mean, shouldn't I? This is me being so happy that I'm going to be working in the UK as I've always wanted. So I felt really good. I felt really, really happy because, I mean, I started looking for jobs in the UK. It's so crazy, but don't mind me, I'm just so silly. But I was really happy because I was like, okay, which city am I going to be working? Where do I want to work? Is it London? Is it Leeds? Is it Manchester? Is it don't mind me, please. I'm just being so crazy, but I'm not even going to lie. That's how I felt. Okay, that's how I felt. And so yeah, back to it. Like I said, so I felt that was the excitement I had because, I mean, of course, I'm looking for a job. I'm trying to get my placement in UK. I'm trying to find a place to work. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be finding your placement, okay? Now, I think there are quite different options. The first option is to check the college website for jobs. They're actually placement jobs, like pre-registration optometrist placement jobs, okay? That they are like lists of clinics, a number of clinics rather, that take pre-registration optometrist. So you could apply, but trust me, I did. I applied to all of them. Yeah, I applied to most of them, maybe just 2 because they were in Scotland or Wales or somewhere. I didn't want to work there, so I just wanted to work in England, and these were places that I actually applied. Now, I applied to those places. I did get a feedback, but then it was, oh, we're so sorry, we already have a pre-reg optometrist. Oh, we're so sorry, this advert is no longer available, or just those feedbacks. I didn't get any positive feedback. But even someone I asked earlier said, oh, you may not get feedbacks. I'm not just saying that you will not, but you may not get feedbacks from these people. So the best bet, which is what I used, is to get a recruiter. Now, a friend, I don't even really know how they actually get this recruiter's email, but a friend gave me an email of one of the recruiters we have. And yes, I sent her a message. I emailed her and I told her that I just got the recommendation to go straight into scheme of registration. Please, would you help me get a placement? And yeah, she replied me and she was like, okay, so where do you want to work? And she asked me a few questions like, have you used the Phoropter before? Do you know how to use the OCT? This and that. I honestly don't know what they want to use those questions for, what they're using them for, but I shall answer this. So I answered all the questions, and of course, honestly, if you haven't used any of them, you'll be honest as well. Okay, and yeah, I answered and she said, okay, I would help you. Where would you want to work? And okay, now before that, actually I had in mind to work in London. I've always really loved, I mean, everyone loves London, but yes, I told her I want to work in London, and she said okay. And she didn't get back to me in like days. So in my head I was like, what's happening, why is she not getting back to me? But in the process of waiting for her to get back to me, I had to do my own research. Okay, I went, of course I'm a YouTube girl, I went on YouTube and I tried to ask, you know, search for these things, the best cities to live, you know, best affordable cities, because we cannot afford to be paying too much money. But I mean, as long as you're going to be in a developed country, you're going to have to pay, because they paid to get that country to where it is right now. But anyways, that's not the point. That's not the point. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is I researched. Okay, because I don't know anybody in UK. I've not been to UK before. I don't have any family, friend, or anybody. Okay, yeah, I do have a friend, but not too close. But yeah, it's just like I know someone, but of course she lives in London. But then that's a different case. The point is, I'm just doing this thing based on only me, not knowing anyone, and also prayers, because yeah, I believe in prayers and I always pray to God for guidance and direction. So I went on YouTube, researched, and yes, different cities came up, you know, Bristol, Brighton, Leeds, Birmingham, Nottingham, London, of course, and yeah, cities, and Manchester. So I checked all those. So then immediately, so I saw, I feel like 10 of them. So I just picked the ones, because of course from the YouTube I watched, they mentioned the cities and talked about the nice things about them and why you have to live there and all this stuff. So yeah, they all appealed to me, but of course I don't know if there are vacancies right there. So I sent her, so I quickly emailed her. After like 2 or 3 days, she didn't reply me. She hadn't replied. I emailed her. I was like, okay, please also help me check if you could find any vacancy or job opportunity for a pre-reg in Bristol or Brighton or Leeds or Manchester or Nottingham. So she immediately replied and she was like, oh yes, I have a colleague who's also a recruiter who stays in Bristol. Yeah, I could link you up to him and he would take you from there. And I was like, oh, okay, wonderful. Please, thank you so much, you know. Then she immediately sent it to me and I immediately sent him a message, and these people were just replying back to back. I was like, oh, okay, this is probably the chosen city of all the cities. So yeah, that's what happened. Then the guy, the man, because I don't really know him, so I don't know how young or old he is, but he did sound young, so so he replied me and said, okay, yeah, of course there are some vacancies and I could link you up with the clinics. I was like, wow, is this how much he gets in this job? Okay. So he called me on WhatsApp and we talked, and he told me the different places that had vacancies and what the clinics were. First, he asked me questions like, do you want to work in a large store, or do you want to work in a medium-sized store or a small store? So I was like, I want a large store, of course. I want to work in a large store. So he was like, okay, now the large store is in the city center and this and that and that and that. And so that was it. So I was like, okay, yeah, from the way he explained about that store, I just fell in love with it. I was like, okay, yeah, I would want to work with them. Would you? So he said, okay, all right, since you have agreed, you have picked this one, I would set up a meeting or an interview with you, a meeting with you guys, you both, and of course, if you like what he has told you, then we'll go ahead with that. So I was like, okay. And it's like, when would you be ready for an interview or a meeting? And I was like, as soon as possible. So yeah, of course. And he set it up by like 2 days after, and just sent me a few things about the things I wanted. Just sent me a few tips about, you know, what could likely, you know, come up, the questions that could come up, and, you know, what I need to do to handle it and all this stuff. So in the process, he also told me about the he told me about the range of payment for pre-regs. So, and he said, yeah, of course, yeah, he told me, but then I already made my research, and I think I found out that it was between 18 to 20 as at the time when I did my own research. So going on, so he set up the meeting, and of course on the interview day I had already prepared. There was really nothing much to prepare since I already still had I knew it wasn't going to be like the GOC interview. Of course, this is more like you trying to find out the place you're going to be working and knowing if you like them or if they like you or if there's really vacancy, like they said, just all that stuff. So beforehand I prepared some questions which I'm going to tell you about. The first question, so I wrote down some questions just in case, because I also really wanted to find out, you know, what the place was like. So the questions that I wrote down were, well, let me not say I wrote down the questions I asked him. So when he, of course, came up, when the interview day or the meeting day was, of course, we used WhatsApp audio call, and he called me and he said, okay, hi Chidima, and he said, yeah, hi, I don't really have anything to ask you. I've already sent your CV. Yes, I did send my CV to them. So I've already gone through your CV. It's okay, it's good, and I think everything that we need to find out is right there, and we don't have any issues with you. So we'll be really glad to have you work with us. I was like, just like that. Just like that. So yes, that was what he did. That was what he said. And then like, yeah, we're really glad to have you work with us. And so I'm just having this call with you to find out if you have any questions for me. And I was like, okay, yes, of course I do have questions for you. And I asked questions. I asked him, so what is your training process for pre-reg optometrist like? And he answered me. And then I asked him, what professional development do you offer? The next question I asked was, what are the biggest challenges I will likely face in this role? And finally I asked, do you give accommodation, or can you help me arrange? So yeah, of course they do not give accommodation, but then he said yes, that they would help me arrange for accommodation, and they also give relocation allowance. And yeah, that was just really good enough. And yes, the good thing they also said they could do for me, they didn't really say, but I think that's what they probably would do, you know, the being standing in, sorry, they said that. They said they would standing as a guarantor, just in case I'm trying to get an apartment or any place where I would want to stay, because yeah, you have to show a credible guarantor, and they were willing to stand in for me. And yes, he answered all my questions, and I just loved the city and the way he described it and everything. And I was like, okay, yes, I would be also glad to work with you and your team. And he said, okay, so please do get back to George, the recruiter, and tell him, yes, that you want to work with us, and we'll take it up from there. So I was like, okay, thank you so much. And that was the end of my interview. It was not even such a big deal. It was not about any extra questions about what I know, what I don't know, what I need to learn or what I don't need to learn, you know, things like that. But yeah, he just really answered questions that, the questions were really satisfactory in the way he answered them. So yeah, I just liked it, period. And I went with it. And after that, few days after that, you know, of course I also got back to George, and George then sent me the offer letter, and that included my pay. My contract was sent, and I signed it, and they signed it as well. They signed as well, and that's how I got the job in Bristol City. So thank you guys. So okay, now the next thing after I got the job was and had the contract signed. the next thing was, of course, to get my certificate of sponsorship. And I also needed all of that to get my certificate of sponsorship. So right after that, well, but before that, in the process of all these things, I had already applied, because to get your certificate of sponsorship, you have to register with the college. So you register with the college, fill all the forms, and they'll give you a college number, something like that. They'll give you a college number that you would use to also apply for your certificate of sponsorship. And you have to pay your £550 for it. Once you pay your £550, you wait for like, say, 5 working days, or at most 1 week, at most 10 days. But mine came like 1 week, just 7 days. Mine came like 1 week. And yes, I got that. And yeah, it's just really that easy. Apply, register with the college, pay your £550, and you get your certificate of sponsorship. So this certificate of sponsorship is what you're going to use for your visa process, because once you start applying for visa, at the first stage, you're going to be asked for your certificate of sponsorship reference number. So yes, let me explain what it looks like. So certificate of sponsorship is more like, yeah, just the reference number. That's what they need, that's what they require. So that reference number is what you're going to put in your visa application form. When you put it there, then you can go ahead and, you know, fully apply for visa and get ready to travel. So yeah, that is the process so far at this point. In my next video, I'm going to talk about the visa process and everything that I had to do for my visa process, and yeah, all that you need to know, as I always do. Yeah, this is it all. This is everything. This is just everything. I'm just trying to think if there's anything that is missing. But anyways, you know I still got you. If you have any more questions, put it in the comment box and I will respond as fast as I can, okay? And yeah, that's everything, guys. So I want to thank you again also for staying with me and going through all my story, my job, getting story and everything. I just really had to cut everything short because I know this video right now is really lengthy, but I'm sure when you're watching it, you wouldn't mind because it's quite an interesting story. But anyways, thank you for staying here with me. I really appreciate everything you guys keep doing. Just keep coming as I keep showing you all that I can show, okay, and everything that you would need to know as well. Thank you so much once again for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'll see you again in the next video, okay? Do take care. Bye-bye.